start?
Yes, Devmaya, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, in fact, Rajiv Reddy, my colleague, chairman of our Southern Region Council, is in a poor network area. Again, these are the flip sides of COVID and online modes. So, it's becoming very difficult for him to join. So, let me only welcome all of you, especially our, Mr. Abhay Thakur, Excellency, our High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Janesh Kane, Abhijit Chakravarti, Dheeraj Puri, and we are also having Arifa Parker, CEO of Western Cape Business Opportunities Forum. She is just joining in a minute. And this is a very, very important online virtual expo, which is being, done by ICC with the support of Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Every year, Ministry of Commerce, since the end of License Raj from the early 90s, has been supporting such kind of initiatives globally so that the Indian businesses can move to a different level. But this is for the first time in the history of Commerce Ministry also, they have been supporting programs in a online mode. So we are extremely thankful to Ministry of Commerce because of their support. They have funded this particular program for the knowledge and records of all the attendees as well as panelists. I would like to put forward that 45 Indian companies will be showcasing their products and services in the virtual expo, which will take place from tomorrow. And it will span for 3 days. It will be spanning from 17th to 19th. And today we are having the curtain raiser. And in that curtain raiser, we are obviously having, distinguished people like Abhay Thakurji, Abhijit Chakravarti, Dheeraj Puri, Arifa Parker, and Mr. Kane. So without much deliberation, I would like to welcome all of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your, patiently waiting for 10 more minutes before we could, formally start. So may I now request my colleague Dheeraj Puri, Senior Managing Committee Member of ICC, to share his thoughts with us. Mr. Puri has got immense interest in oil and gas in African continent. So he would be a very, very right kind of speaker to share his thoughts about his business, about how he looks at the markets in Africa. Mr. Puri.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's well. The African continent has a varied and a large untapped scope for multilateral business opportunities due to its abundance of its natural resources and its large reserves of oil, among others. I myself am in the oil and gas industry. This untapped potential is important for India as it seeks to forge stronger trade ties with the region in Africa. Meanwhile, it's eager to improve its business ties with India, seek assistance in terms of expertise, skills, and capital. India is reportedly Africa's third largest trading partner, accounting for 6.4% of the continent's trade value at a value of US 62.6 billion in the year 2017. India exports a wide range of goods to Africa. The mineral fuels, the vehicles, the pharmaceuticals, the machinery, cereals. Mineral fuels, on the other hand, account for the bulk of Indian imports from Africa. There's obviously a lot of room for investment in building forward backward linkages in terms of investment opportunities. Indian investments are currently concentrated in primary resources such as oil and gas, mines, as well as automotive and the pharmaceutical industry. By expanding duty-free access to 98.2% of India's total tariff lines, the government's duty tariff preference, the DFTP, scheme for least developed countries, has significantly benefited African nations and led to a steady rise in trade figures. The DFTP scheme has benefited 38 countries so far. The sub-Saharan electricity's growth potential relies on how power demand will develop in the region, as well as the related supply requirements, how much it will cost to supply the needed power, as well as the options for managing the cost. And on infrastructure to ensure the new capacity is installed, Indian investors can find their foothold in these industries in the coming years with strategic planning. By 2040, the sub-Saharan Africa is expected to consume approximately 1,600 terawatt hours, 4 times what it did in the year 2010. This projection is focused on a variety of main factors, including a five-fold rise in GDP, a doubling of population, an accelerated urbanization, with electricity access hitting more than 70% by the year 2040. By 2040, the sub-Saharan Africa will consume as much electricity as India and Latin America combined did in the year 2010. It is evident that as the energy sector in Africa stabilizes, the subsequent demand for the electrical equipments will also increase. This is very noteworthy for Indian manufacturers and suppliers who are trying to get into business in Africa. Africa's phenomenal growth in the consumer goods market is both the cause and the reflection of a socio-economic revolution in the region. In 2010, the continent had more than 1 billion users, with that number expected to rise to 1.3 billion by the year 2030. The robust energy market in Africa, coupled with demand in consumer goods, reflects that the demand for electrical power equipments will also rise in the continent. Indian investors should take this opportune moment to explore the untapped market in Africa, which is just growing. Global Drilling, which I am the executive director of, as also I have a strong relationship with several oil and gas companies in Africa. Presently, we're supplying to, I would say, over 15 different countries in Africa, in Nigeria, Angola, Algeria, Egypt, Congo. We look forward to the intense and dense growth in the African markets in the coming years, building a winning business in Africa and a long-term stay. Expansion into other African economies may be helped by a concentrated approach to understanding the traditions and customs of one's market. The Indian Chamber of Commerce, with its ICC Electrical and Power Equipment Fair, opens an opportunity for us to work with clients from all over the world, especially in Africa, and establish long-term relationships with a number of them over the years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Puri. It was really wonderful of you to come and join this program. Not every day we come across entrepreneurs who has deep business interest in Africa. And Africa, as you rightly pointed out, is the gold mine. It's the last of the Mohicans, kind of. Because everywhere the foothold of Indians have gone, Africa is one place which needs to be more thoroughly explored. Thank you so much for your deliberation. And, very heartening to know that you are doing strong activities in Congo, in Nigeria, in Egypt, and other African countries. Thank you once again.
A fair amount of work in Nigeria and the other countries.
We have Excellency Abhay Thakur here. So he's our godfather. He's everything for us in Nigeria. So Indian Mission is always there to support us. Thank you so much. May I now request Mrs. Arifa Parker, CEO, Western Cape Business Opportunities Forum, to deliver her International Association address. Mrs. Parker, she's from Cape Town.
Thank you very much, Dirmalia, and I feel very honored to be part of your program that you are having over here. And what was interesting,
Mrs. Parker, there is a bandwidth issue. You can switch off your video. There's a bandwidth issue. You can switch off your video.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'll do that.
Yeah, it's done. You can speak.
Is that better? Yeah. What really surprised me was that when I got that invitation, I did a bit of research amongst my members in Western Cape. And I said, there is a show going to be taking place, and it is to the most important thing that came out for me from all the talks that I had with my members who are in the world of construction and all the things that relate to it was that, Arifa, we don't have much relationship with India, or the Indian manufacturers in this side of the world. That really surprised me. And I said, here is an opportunity for us to go. As you know, that the Western Cape province is fighting to be off the grid, and we are trying also to make sure that many of our manufacturers and big users of electricity be able to get many of this stuff. And then when I asked them, I said, you know, I last went to a show here in the Cape Town when you had it, and I was amazed at the amount of the ICC electrical and power equipment that you had over here. It was we had, I think, more than 27 companies on the stand over there. And that really gave me a chance. And I spoke to them. I said, but there is a lot of opportunity. Why should we be the only country getting from Germany, which is very expensive, and China, which is all right, but why not get from our neighbor who is India? And so what came out of all the talks that I've been giving since the time you had sent me the invite, more and more of my members are getting to be interested in finding out what can India offer to South Africa. Not only to South Africa. When I look at all the changes that are taking place, I'm also myself a business person besides being the CEO of WECBOF. I see Cape Town as actually the stepping stone to get into Africa, which is very comfortable. I support my Western Cape province because we've got all our ducks in a row. Our government is running well. We know how to do business in Africa. We have lots of opening doors and relationships. Better off, we've got Westgrow that helps us in finding new ventures into Africa. So why not take this opportunity here to invite actually our Indian manufacturers and businesses to start building a better relationship with the businesses in South Africa, especially in Cape Town. I find that having this, you know, in spite of the fact that we have had COVID-19 and we are doing the new normal of doing everything via Zooms and all these meetings, I have to say hats off to you, and I give you a lot of credit for taking up this particular venture out and making it available online for all the people. I'm sure you'll be getting lots of people from all the world wanting to know what is happening. I hope you do, because to have such a ICC electrical power equipment fair on an online basis is fantastic. And to get my members, and basically I've got lots of SMMEs who are interested in this, because that is where I find the backbone of every economy. The SMMEs running the show. And when I have to speak to them, and I said, no, nothing is closed. COVID is there. It's not going to run away from us for the next couple of years. But it is up to us to use the new technology and make sure. And what better place than India? You are far ahead of so many things. And this is all credit to the kind of work many of our Indian companies are doing over there. So for me, this particular opportunity of coming and getting a chance to speak on behalf of my members in Western Cape, especially in the construction world, where I do a lot of deals, and I know that they are always looking for new deals, new ways of getting, and to actually change their mindset and stop going to the same old stories of the European market. There's nothing against it. I have nothing against it, but try and look for new markets. And this is what WECBOF likes doing, opening up new ventures, new ways of doing business, and getting better exposure to businesses. On our behalf of WECBOF, I'd like to actually congratulate you people for doing this marvelous job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Parker. In fact, our heartiest, compliments to you, or, respect to you, thankfulness to you for so kindly acknowledging India's role in the global story and in specific African story. I remember in the year 2017, our people, our diplomats in the mission told us that South Africa in specific, is more inclined towards Indian markets. But it did not deter us. Every year we had been traveling to South Africa with a bunch of Indian entrepreneurs to penetrate more and more into the South African market. And today, I think, through your words, we can understand that some impact has certainly happened. And we are getting acknowledged, and people are actually looking forward to doing business with India. So our efforts are certainly bearing fruit, and we need more, comrades and partners like you. We have already signed an MOU with your organization, ICC, and COS. So in the presence of Indian Consul General, he was the one who had, brought both of us together.
That's
I
true.
think, our efforts are bearing the fruit today. I am really happy. I am at peace mentally, because the best thing for a Chamber of Commerce professional to observe is their businesses of their members growing, and that too in an international market. Thank you so much. We look forward to your support in forthcoming times too. Thanks for joining. May I now request Mr. Janesh Kane, IFS Deputy High Commissioner, High Commission of India from Port Louis, Mauritius, to share his thoughts with us.
Thank you, Debmalia. Good afternoon, everyone. High Commissioner of India to Nigeria, Deputy High Commissioner of India to South Africa, colleagues from Indian Chamber of Commerce, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me say that it is my privilege to be part of this meeting today. It's a good initiative by Government of India and ICC during these COVID times when everything has been disrupted. We have not been able to carry forward our work the way we have been used to. In fact, as I speak from my home, because we have been put under COVID-related lockdown and a sanitary curfew by the government of Mauritius. So we are forced to operate from our homes right now. So that said, I congratulate the ICC for taking this opportunity and taking this initiative and connecting the Indian manufacturers and exporters with the potential business partners and importers in Mauritius and also in Africa. At the outset, I would like to say that India has robust capacities in the electronics and the electrical manufacturing sector. The sector contributes around 8% of manufacturing in India and about 1.5% of the entire GDP of India. So it's a substantial contribution that this sector does. And in India itself, it's a big market, but it's slated to become much bigger in the very near future. Just to give you a comparison, from what it used to be in 2017-18 at the level of around $27-28 billion, the market is going to grow to $100 billion as early as 2022. And a similar growth is being experienced also in Africa. So this initiative of yours is very timely, as your colleague, Mr. Puri, had also pointed out. There's a lot of electrification which is going to take place in Africa. A lot of business is there to be had, and it's up to the initiative of our bureaucrats and also, most importantly, our manufacturers and business people to take this opportunity and make best use out of it. However, there is a need, I feel, to augment our capacities when it comes to going higher up in the value chain, promoting more digitalization of the products and services that we are offering, and also paying more attention to innovation. And innovation which is more suited to our kinds of market requirements, where the markets tend to be very cost sensitive, but also very quality conscious. India, as you know, is that kind of a market where small amounts of price variations can bring about a large differences in the final outcome of how successful a product was. whereas people also want to have high quality. A similar criteria, I believe, is also applicable to Africa. And in general, Africa is a very comparable market to India's 1.35 billion people. Africa is also almost around 1.3 billion people, and the size of GDP of the continent as such is also quite comparable to that of India's. So in the socio-economic and the economic evolution of Africa, I think there are a lot of similarities with India. So whatever we innovate for India, I feel would get a lot of automatic traction in Africa as well. So that brings me to the more specific point of Mauritius, which I represent here. Mauritius is although a small market, a small country with 1.3 million people, but it's important, it's key. And why is Mauritius key? I would like to delve into this argument a little more. Obviously, there are cultural and ethnic and linguistic and religious kinship and historic ties between India and Mauritius. Two countries share a commonality of a lot of things. In fact, if you go out on the streets and you speak to somebody in Hindi, the chances are that the person would respond back in Hindi. There's a very high chance. And no one understands Mauritius better than our High Commissioner in Nigeria, who was also a High Commissioner in Mauritius and is credited to have initiated many important and key projects which are now bearing fruit, be it the metro, be it the Supreme Court building, a lot of other things. So Mauritius is important from the point of view of not just Mauritius, because Mauritius, when you look at it, it's a small market, but then it represents something much bigger than its own self. It has the potential to emerge as hub to Africa. You have to understand that Mauritius was called the key, the star and the key of the Indian Ocean, because all the ships going to India perforce were, had to make a stop here, restock, rotate their people, and then go to India. So it was a very important hub of economic activity between India and Europe. And now it has the potential to play that same role between India and Africa, and Asia and Africa. So as we see, the focus of international commerce is shifting from it shifted from Atlantic to Pacific, and now we can feel that it's going to be shifting towards in the next 10, 15, 20 years into the Indian Ocean region. And therefore, the importance of Africa, India's connections with Africa, and therefore the role that Mauritius can play in that would go up substantially. To facilitate this kind of a movement, the Indian government signed the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement with Mauritius earlier this year. In fact, it was signed on 22nd of February in the visit of External Affairs Minister. The Commerce Secretary was himself present there to sign the document. It's a very important document, although it's not a free trade agreement. It's a preferential trade agreement between the two sides, wherein India has offered 610 lines of products for duty-free access to Mauritius, and Mauritius has extended 310 similar lines to us. But its importance is beyond that, because it provides for much more than just a preferential trading agreement. It provides for a freer movement of professionals, a freer movement of goods and services, and exchange of goods and services, and investment, promotion of investment as well. So we need to make use of this opportunity. Although this, as I say, it's a preferential trading agreement, and it's a limited one at that, but it does cover some electrical goods, especially when it comes to lighting and lamps and those kind of things, various categories. So I invite our manufacturers and exporters to look into these opportunities and possibilities, and also to understand that Mauritius can be the hub to Africa. You can come and base yourselves there, and with the little value addition of 35-40%, you can automatically export your goods to COMESA and SADC and COMESA markets, which basically include the southern and eastern African markets of Africa. And with the signing of AFCTA, the Pan-African Continental Free Trade Agreement, it is now possible to manufacture something in Mauritius and send it duty-free all over Africa. So therefore, Mauritius presents a very unique opportunity to our exporters to route their products through Africa, to Africa through Mauritius, and also to do some partial manufacturing here. On similar lines, the Chinese have also signed an FTA with Mauritius earlier this year, and they also plan to do something similar. So the African market is huge. The potential is huge, as it has been pointed out that this is the last gold mine to be had. I welcome and I encourage our business people, our investors, to look at Mauritius not through the prism of Mauritius alone, but to see it in the context of Africa and see it as an opportunity to get a greater foothold in the greater African market. India has vast potential, India has vast capacities, and we need to leverage these capacities to our benefit. This is basically the gist of what I wanted to say. I'm quite sure the deliberations, further deliberations would add further value, and I look forward to the educating lecture we would have from the speech we would have from High Commissioner in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jain. In fact, you started your speech by saying that if someone is in Port Louis, obviously, you know, back, and we had a very, very meaningful experience, you know, engaging with the industry there. And 25 companies traveled with us. High Commission was of full support. And, you know, within 2 months of our coming, one company got business worth 60 lakhs. So that only testifies the kind of potential that exists. Obviously, Mauritius acts as a gateway to Africa. That is all what we have heard in our geography and classes. And we witnessed the same as we country. We never knew, obviously, my apologies, that it's our own High Commissioner. He started the metro rail project. When I went to Port Louis, I saw that the metro rail construction just started. So I'm sure this will add tremendous value to the people of Mauritius. ICC would continue to engage with that geography and will encourage our participating exhibitors to explore more markets, more number of importers from Mauritius, so that we can effectively develop more bilateral trade with Mauritius. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. May I now request Mr. Abhijit Chakravarti, DHC, High Commission of India, Pretoria, South Africa, to share his words with us. Mr. Chakravarti.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Respected High Commissioner of India to Nigeria, my batchmate and Deputy High Commissioner of India to Mauritius, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am delighted to attend the curtain webinar of ICC Electrical and Power Equipment Fair. This fair comes at a time when we are greeted with the encouraging news of India emerging out of technical recession. The global trends in trade and economy are also on upward trajectory after a COVID-19 induced slump, and this brings our focus back to powering growth development to new heights. In this context, sharing of the latest innovations and usage of electrical and power equipment, the key tools to drive the global growth engine through this fair, is a welcome move. Speaking from my perspective, ensuring energy security is vital to South Africa's economic growth, and it has to happen within the context of climate change commitments such as reducing carbon emissions. And as such, South Africa is seeking to achieve an appropriate balance between renewables and fossil fuel-based power. There is a strong ongoing debate on privatization of South Africa's energy sector. As early as in 2001, the South African cabinet approved proposals for the reform of the electricity supply industry. In terms of these proposals, Eskom, the state-owned enterprise holding monopoly in fossil fuel-based power generation, is expected to shed a portion of its market share through the sale of 30% of its generation assets to private equity partners. 20% of it would be to local and foreign private sector operators. Also, there is a strong sentiment in favor of unbundling Eskom into three operating entities and open up the generation entity to compete in the market. Carrying forward this trend, local municipalities in South Africa in good financial standing would be allowed to develop their own power generation projects. Dedicated investors looking into investing as independent power producers are invited to keep track of the development and leverage it to their advantage. Coming to renewable energy, there is ample scope for bilateral cooperation in this field in terms of diversifying our energy mix, moving away from carbon sources, and reducing the renewable energy. South Africa has a high level of renewable energy potential and, in line with the national commitment to transition to a low carbon economy, the Integrated Resource Plan of 2010 had set an ambitious target to generate 17,800 megawatts of renewable energy by 2030. To achieve this target, South Africa has launched a renewable energy independent power producers procurement program to facilitate the procurement of energy from independent power producers. 13,725 megawatts of renewable energy is envisaged to be generated from this program. IPPs, which can be foreign, are invited to submit bids for onshore wind, solar photovoltaic, concentrated solar power, small hydro biomass, biogas, and landfill gas projects. The qualification process is designed in two stages. Firstly, an evaluation stage, which requires bidders to meet minimum compliance requirements such as technical specification, financial lending requirements, and local shareholding. Thereafter, bidders are evaluated based on price and economic development criteria in the second stage. All this not only provides opportunities for Indian companies focused on power generation, transmission, and distribution, but also to enhance Indian electronic equipment and component supply share of exports to South Africa from the present $330.75 million in 2019 to a higher trajectory. ICC, with its large network, has been active in organizing virtual trade fair on electrical and power equipment and promoting business relations among different stakeholders. This virtual fair will open newer avenues for the stakeholders and will also support different thoughts and ideas on this industry and the suppliers and manufacturers. I wish all the best to ICC for organizing a successful fair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chakravarti. In fact, a lot of opportunities definitely exist in South Africa, and that is the precise reason why ICC had been participating with 50 plus 20 companies, 70 companies in Africa Utility Week for the last 2 years in pre-COVID times. Our exhibitors who all are exhibiting today, from tomorrow, sorry, they will certainly explore. They have always been doing that for the last 3-4 years, and we have also contributed to their search. I'm sure they will find something meaningful, and they will people who are already doing business will take business to a new height. and this will only strengthen our bilateral relations. And by the way, as Mrs. Parker mentioned in the beginning, that South Africa has a penchant for European products. They always want to take things on the Europe from the Europe. So that myth needs to be broken, and we alone, Indian Chamber of Commerce, cannot do anything. We need effective and strong support of local chambers like Cape Chamber of Commerce or Western Cape Business Opportunities Forum, or the local Chamber of Commerce in Johannesburg, and most importantly from our mission, so that our that ice breaking happens, and we, the Indians, our Indian entrepreneurs, gets more to the South African community. They have to come out of that European utopia. In utopia, India has to start the way it has happened in Nigeria. Indians are everywhere. That level needs to come in South Africa, where I think there is still some gap. I'm sure the effort which we have been putting in, it will certainly come to that stature maybe within few more years, especially when the regulators are satisfied with our kind of products. That's also again an issue. So thank you so much. Your coming on board means a lot to us, and thanks for encouraging our exhibitors. May I now request his
Hear me, Debmalia? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible, Debmalia?
Yes, you're audible. Yes.
All right. I didn't hear the last part, but I will start now. So let me begin by recognizing this very important group of movers from Africa that we are interacting with today. Debmalia Banerjee himself from ICC Kolkata. When I had come, one of the first events that I attended in Nigeria was done by ICC Kolkata in Lagos, the Future Energy Fair, in which you had participated very actively with more than 30 Indian companies.
Sir,
so that
45,
was,
sir.
that 45. That was the beginning of a very important association, and I'm happy to see that ICC Kolkata is one of those which is really carrying on manfully and fully determined to take this cooperation forward. Mr. Dheeraj Puri, Director of Globoil, it's a pleasure to hear you and see a leading leading industrialist with operations in Africa participating and sharing his wisdom with us. Mrs. Arifa Parker, CEO of Western Cape Business Opportunities Forum, pleasure and good to hear from you, Mrs. Parker, and we all in the missions in Africa look forward to engaging with all the local stakeholders and Indian businesses on a regular basis. I am joined by my Deputy High Commissioner, Mr. VSDL Surendra, Janesh Kain, a colleague officer, Deputy High Commissioner in Mauritius, and Abhijit Chakrabarti, Deputy High Commissioner in South Africa. A very good morning to everyone in Africa and a good afternoon to everyone in India. You have chosen once again a very important sector of India-Africa collaboration as a whole. I think sometimes examples speak better than theoretical numbers. And I would like to start by giving a few examples. When I met the chairman of the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee not so long ago in Nigeria, after a discussion on India-Nigeria cooperation and broadly parliamentary exchanges, the one question he asked me was, I need thousands of solar pumps from India, agriculture pumps, solar power pumps. And it got me thinking, in which other continent, in which other country in the world would I get such an inquiry of thousands and thousands of solar power pumps being procured from India? And they are very, very, keen to to partner with India. Another example, we all know about Dangote refinery, but what many of you might not know is that there are nearly $1 billion worth of contracts. This is the largest petroleum refinery being built in Africa, nearly a $12 billion project, with at least $1 billion of contracts being awarded to Indian contractors, and nearly 10,000 Indian workers currently at the refinery site in its various places, construction sites, including by Engineers India Limited, which is executing nearly $150 million worth of project for the refinery, and also many other leading Indian companies and contractors. What I also hear regularly in Nigeria is, because we're talking of energy and power, is the need for modular refining. And this is something I would like to emphasize, that smaller refineries, so that which are not accessible or not available in terms of power production, to spread both power and exploit the oil resources of Africa better. Chad, for example, has growing crude oil production from the Sahara Desert and its south. And there are many opportunities. They want to bring the oil and gas to Nigeria and northern Nigeria. They need to produce petroleum products. It is curious, for Nigeria to export nearly $10 billion of crude oil to India every year, but also at the same time import petroleum products from India. This is something they are acutely conscious of, and they want to plug this gap. And therefore, there is a lot of opportunity in India trying to develop their modular refinery sector over and above what the Dangote refinery is doing. One of the key challenges that we see in Africa is there is not of equipment, but also energy efficiency, transmission, distribution, grid stability, and a host of a host of techniques and expertise that India has mastered, and is really making forms the backbone of India's power sector, in addition to our whole huge generation capacity. Nigeria's entire power generation is 9 gigawatts. India's power generation is 360 gigawatt. So for a country of 200 million, the largest in Africa, this is very, very, very low. And they want to boost it and scale it up. But having said that, what they are also keen to do is to improve transmission, distribution, and efficiency. And this is where they want to learn from it. And this, I think, is applicable not only for Nigeria, but for the whole of Africa. How can we, in addition to exporting equipment and providing, transmission lines and so on, what can we do to assist them in terms of management, in terms of energy efficiency, in terms of distribution, reducing losses, and so on? Because, one should never forget what our Prime Minister Modi ji says, that how did he stop, one of his speeches I remember, how did we stop or improve the efficiency of energy distribution in India? And he said, "Maine ek kaam kiya, bijli ki chori band kar." And that, really changed the face of Gujarat, for example. So this is something that is needed in Africa. The opportunities are immense, but they need to they need assistance in terms of experience and expertise in getting their act together. This is very, very critical, because without it, many of the exports that we do will be, of course, taken and absorbed, but then will not be put to good use, and the cycle keeps coming back to where it was. This will happen more and more as the newer free trade agreements get into force. The ACFTA, Janesh talked about SECPA with Mauritius. Congratulations on that. It's very good that these free trade agreements are happening. But I would also say that a number of these arrangements we need to view with a certain degree of cautious optimism. Because, let's not forget we have a SAFTA, South Asia Free Trade Area. And there are still a number of challenges that we need to overcome in our own part of the world, primarily because of limitations of border infrastructure, of customs harmonization, of administrative procedures, of political, predilections, and a number of these factors. So ACFTA has 54 countries of Africa with many historical, political, security, economic, infrastructural, border constraints, and they need to be factored in. So it will still be very, very important that one will have to go local as we try to go global, because this is where implementation and infrastructure development will have to be still local. Production will have to be to a large extent, taking into account local needs. There is interest in Nigeria to partner with India, but in areas where they can move up the value chain for technology, for skills, and for expertise. There is a greater movement. In fact, tonight I will be meeting the new Director General of WTO, who is visiting her native country, Nigeria, Abuja, and Dr. Gozi Ibiala has always been vocal about carrying the last and the smallest and the weakest countries along when it comes to economic development under the rubric of WTO. So this is a perennial concern, and the more we understand, the more we work closely with Africa, the better it will be for our longer term needs. One suggestion I would like to make in this forum, that let's try to think a little beyond exports of goods and services. That is important, yes. But what we can do is to look at Indian companies in particular to draw business plans for specific projects, even if they have no immediate orders, because I think that is the way to go. What are a number of companies? Let us not forget that it is not easy for any country, including those with limited resources or limited expertise, to prepare their own detailed project report for projects, DPRs, for example. So if you, I met a number of ministers, and they are looking for not only for equipment from India, but for India to draw up their entire development plan for the power sector, for example. So if you are approaching the authorities and the businesses with a ready plan with an Indian content, that makes a lot of more difference than simply responding to a tender or an order that has been put out by a Nigerian importer. So let's try to look beyond. Some of the bigger Indian companies will be well advised. What are a lot of Europeans or Chinese or other companies doing? They are providing a full-fledged solution suited to local conditions. So I think once you do that, for example, and I would like to once again go into some detail, we have Tata Consulting Engineers with huge presence in Africa. The other day, they presented their expertise to us, and we managed to fix several meetings for them with Nigerian ministries and so on who are interested in infrastructure and power and energy development. And one thing that came out again and again is, yes, you have a lot of expertise, but then how do we utilize it? How do we? So let's not forget that they need a needs assessment. And we need to prepare DPRs if we can for them. and then provide Indian equipment under those DPRs or contracts. I would also like to say that we can look at provinces of Nigeria, because there is a lot of, they have their own budgets. There are 36 provinces in Nigeria. Coincidentally, the Minister of Power of Nigeria and 2 governors of Kano and Kaduna are currently in India. They are in New Delhi on a semi-private visit, and they are having a number of meetings with Power Grid, Power Trading Corporation, MEIL from Hyderabad, and so on. And they're all, deeply interested. They're getting a lot of response, but we need to overcome this hurdle, if I may, of providing a solution which we have to think, for them. This is important. We also are, now increasingly respected, more so after the vaccine distribution and supply, exercise. I think, it is well recognized all over Africa that, in our country so far, I think we have administered about 30 million vaccines, while we have supplied globally nearly double that number. So from 33 million domestic vaccines which have been administered in India, we have already supplied nearly 59 million vaccines globally, including to 34 countries in Africa. So this has gone down very well. There is again a lot of interest on how has India done this, and how come they have been able to produce, vaccines at such scale, which is something which African countries would like to learn from, and see if they can develop, pharmaceutical expertise, manufacturing in their own countries. We spoke about vehicles. Of course, TVS and Bajaj are among the most visible all over West Africa, including Nigeria. Most of the vehicles that you will see are those, but again, newer variants, electric buses, electric cars, moving from moving from exports to SKD to CKD at least, trying to find new areas of collaboration. For example, Stallion, which is assembling a number of Indian automobile products in Nigeria, recently announced that they will be starting on 8th of March women-only assembly line for Nigeria, and this has gone down very well. So taking into account local needs and working with them has borne a fruit for us in the past. We need to be more engaged. I'm very happy to see that interest has grown, particularly with Nigeria. We've had nearly 30 virtual seminars or webinars involving a number of Indian chambers and Nigerian chambers over the last 1 year. This is very good news. Nigerians know that now there is another way of doing business with India, which does not involve visas or physical travel. And this is something that I would once again congratulate ICC that they have put this together to connect more than 25 Indian exporters and nearly 25 business entities in Africa. There is a lot of potential. We need to think ahead, forward, improve our supply packages, if I may say, to add skills, to add technology, to add training, to add needs assessment, and then present the solution to African countries. Nigeria in particular, I would like to point out a curious phenomena. They are more interested in buyer's credit of Exim Bank rather than the line of credit, even though it carries a higher interest rate, for the simple reason that they would like to deal with known Indian or known companies which can provide a wholesome solution to their problems. So they are looking at whether in the hospital sector or in the railway sector or in the power sector. holistic solutions by large Indian companies. I am happy again to report that last year we did assessment or the total quantification of Indian and Indian origin investment in Nigeria, and we came up with a whopping figure of $19.3 billion of Indian origin investment in Nigeria, and this has come about not recently. This is work of last 50-60 years. But then this also provides us a big platform to do more, move forward. There's a lot of money in the informal sector. In Nigeria, we do not necessarily have to look at only the government business, because let's not forget that budget contributes only about 8.5% of Nigerian GDP. It's one of the smaller proportions, so to say. Nearly more than 90% is in the private sector. India, in comparison, has nearly 20% of its budget as our GDP. A number of things, even though related to welfare and infrastructure development, are still being done in various modes by involving private sector and industry. I will conclude with one last example. E-customs project recently was finalized by Nigeria, where almost the entire customs collection will be done by a consortium, which will maintain and develop the port infrastructure, where Larsen & Toubro has a significant involvement, and also provide all the surveillance, monitoring, and administrative support. This is the extent to which they are going. So it's a project of e-customs, but it is being done in a PPP mode, in a very refined and advanced way. Even the Dangote refinery will be located in a special zone in Nigeria, where they will, in fact, de facto import the Nigerian crude oil, process it, and export it back, both to Nigeria and abroad. So there are many innovative models which are happening, where the government's budgetary involvement is very limited. This is again we need to look at and explore opportunities accordingly. So I think for now, these are some of the thoughts that I have. I once again congratulate ICC Kolkata for putting this together and staying engaged with Africa. The opportunities are abound, as all the speakers have said, and the High Commission remains at your disposal to connect you with important players. Do draw up solutions and projects according to your own estimate. Of course, they can be modified, but we would like to send them across to major players in the power sector in Nigeria. And this is the way, I think, to go forward, rather than only looking at smaller exports from relatively smaller sized companies when we are looking at Africa. To conclude, I will recall a conversation with the Vice President of Nigeria. We were discussing a certain line of credit from India of about $200 million, and he said to me, High Commissioner, this is a very, very small amount. We are looking at billions and billions of dollars of projects, and this is where we need India. So I think on this note, to be more ambitious, to grow and think bigger, provide solutions, and engage with Africa even more deeply. I wish ICC Kolkata all the best, and all the participants fruitful deliberations and good business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Your words hold a lot of meaning to us. We have walked under your leadership, and we have seen how you motivate us to do better than the best. And there is our exhibitors to continuously travel to Nigeria. Still, I'm given to understand There are some, but still, even in COVID times, they have landed in Nigeria and they are trying to do business. So unfortunately, Ministry of Commerce only funds for 3 years, and then we are meant to fend for ourselves. So, under your leadership, a lot of development has happened. Even now, the state governments are willing to explore the provinces of Nigeria. I mentioned to you a few months back that government of Karnataka would like to, do tie-ups with the government of Nigeria, obviously in the software and the electronic sector. So which we can certainly take it forward in the next fiscal. I would certainly love to visit and, ensure these tie-ups are done. Plus, our healthcare committee would like to visit Nigeria. So which I had already shared with DHC, which we will plan it in the next financial year, which starts from 1st of April for us. And we will be very happy to, facilitate those large projects where Indian companies can get involved. We'll be very happy if, some documents, some opportunity spaces, if they're shared with us, then, share it with the large Indian enterprises. So thank you so much. With this note, I propose a formal hearty vote of thanks, and I would like to request all concerned to carry it with a note of acclamation. Thank you so much. Thank you all the speakers. Jai Hind. The program comes to an end here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.